My goodness, this indeed is simple rudeness. From the sunny Spanish shore, the Duke of Plazatoro,
and his grace's Duchess true, and his grace's daughter too,
and his grace's private drum to Venetia shores have come, to Venetia shores have come. And if ever they get back to Spain, they will never cross the sea again. They will never cross the sea again.
neither that grandee from the Spanish shore, the noble Duke of Plazatoro,
Duchess, daughter true. You may add his grace's daughter too.
Nor his grace's own particular drum to Venetia shores will come, to Venetia shores will come. If you ever get back to Spain, they will never cross the sea again. They will never cross the sea again. They will never cross the sea again.
At last, we have arrived at our destination. This is the Ducal Palace, and it is here that the Grand Inquisitor resides. As a Castilian hidalgo of 95 quarterings, I regret that I am unable to pay my state visit on a horse. As a Castilian hidalgo of that description, I should have preferred to ride through the streets of Venice. But owing, I presume, to an unusually wet season, the streets are in such a condition that equestrian exercise is impracticable. No matter, where's our suite?
Your Grace, I am here.
Why do you not do yourself the honor to kneel when you address his grace?
My love, it is so small a matter. Still, you may as well do it.
The young man seems to entertain but an imperfect appreciation of the respect due from a menial to a Castilian hidalgo.
My child, you are hard upon our suite.
Papa, I've no patience with the people of his plebeian position. If he does not appreciate that position, let him be whipped until he does.
Let us hope that the omission was not intended as a slight. I should be much hurt if I thought it was. So would he. Where are the halberdiers who are to have had the honor of meeting us here, that our visit to the Grand Inquisitor might be made in becoming state?
Your Grace, the halberdiers are mercenary people who stipulated for a trifle on account.
How tiresome. Well, let us hope that the Grand Inquisitor is a blind gentleman. And the band who are to have had the honor of escorting us. I see no band.
Your Grace, the band are sordid persons who are required to be paid in advance.
That's so like a band.
Insuperable difficulties meet me at every turn.
But surely they know his grace.
Exactly, they know his grace.
Well, let us hope that the Grand Inquisitor is a deaf gentleman. A cornet piston would be something. You do not happen to possess the accomplishment of tootling like a cornet piston?
Alas, no, Your Grace. But I can imitate a farmyard.
I don't see how that could help us. I don't see how we could bring it in.
It would not help us in the least. We are not a parcel of grazers come to market, dolt.
My love, our sweet stealers. Be so good as to inform the Grand Inquisitor that His Grace, the Duke of Plazatoro, Count Matadoro, Baron Picadoro, and Sweet, have arrived in Venice and seek
Desire.
and demand an honor.
Your Grace has but to command.
I felt sure of it. I felt sure of it. And now, my love, shall we tell her? I think so. And now, my love, prepare for a magnificent surprise. It is my agreeable duty to reveal to you the secret which shall make you the happiest young lady in Venice.
A secret? A secret which, for state reasons, it has been necessary to preserve for 20 years.
When you were a prattling young babe of 6 months old, you were married, by proxy, to no less a personage than the infant son and heir of His Majesty, the immeasurably wealthy King of Barataria.
Married to the infant son of the King of Barataria? Was I consulted? then it was a most unpardonable liberty.
Consider his extreme youth and forgive him. Shortly after the ceremony, that misguided monarch abandoned the creed of his forefathers and became a Wesleyan Methodist of the most bigoted and persecuting type. The Grand Inquisitor determined that the innovation should not be perpetrated in Barataria, caused your smiling and unconscious husband to be stolen and conveyed to Venice. A fortnight since, the Methodist monarch and all his Wesleyan court were killed in an insurrection, and we are here to ascertain the whereabouts of your husband and to hail you, our daughter, as the reigning queen of Barataria.
Your Majesty.
It is at such moments as these that one feels how necessary it is to travel with a full band.
I, the Queen of Barataria? But what would I wear? We're practically penniless.
That point has not escaped me. Although I am unhappily in straitened circumstances at present, my social influence is something enormous. And a company to be called the Duke of Plazatoro Limited is in course of formation to work. An influential directorate has been secured, and I shall myself join the board after allotment.
Am I to understand that the Queen of Barataria may be called upon at any time to witness her honored sire in the process of liquidation?
The speculation is not exempt from that drawback. If your father should stop, it will of course be necessary to wind him up.
But it's so undignified, it's so degrading. A grandee of Spain turned into a public company? Such a thing was never heard of.
My child, the Duke of Plazatoro does not follow factions. He leads them. He always leads everybody. When he was in the army, he led his regiment. He occasionally led them into action. He invariably led them out. In enterprise of martial kind, when there was any fighting, he led his regiment from behind. He found it less exciting. But when away his regiment ran, his place was at the borough. That celebrated, cultivated, underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plazatoro. In the first and foremost fight, he always found the night. That celebrated, cultivated, underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plazatoro. When to evade destruction's hand too high they all proceeded. No hero in that gallant band hid half as well as he did. He lay concealed throughout no war and so preserved his quarrel. That unaffected, undetected, well-connected warrior, the Duke of Plazatoro. In every tragedy, he always took the lead. That unaffected, undetected, well-connected warrior, the Duke of Plazatoro. When told that they would all be shot unless they left the service, that hero hesitated not, so marvelous his nervous. He sent his resignation in the first of all his quarrel. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plazatoro. To an unreserved way, he always showed the way. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plazatoro. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plazatoro.
majesty, you will ever have reason to repent.
Nay, Louise. It may not be. I have embraced you for the last time.
Casilda!
I have just learned to my surprise and indignation that I was wed in babyhood to the infant son of the king of Barataria.
The son of the king of Barataria? The same child who was stolen in infancy by the Inquisition?
The same. But of course you know his story.
Know his story? Why, I often told you that my mother was the nurse to whose charge he was entrusted.
True. I had forgotten. Well, he has been discovered and my father has brought me here to claim his hand.
But surely you will not recognize this marriage. You are far too young to understand its import.
Nay, Louise, respect my principles and cease to torture me with these vain entreaties. Henceforth, my life is another's.
But stay. The present and the future, they are another's, but the past, that at least is ours, and none can take it from us. As we may revel in naught else, let us revel in that.
I don't think I grasp your meaning.
Yet, it is logical enough. You say you cease to love me.
I say I may not love you.
Ah, but do you not say you did not love me?
I loved you with a frenzy that words are powerless to express. That, but 10 brief minutes since.
My own, that is until 10 brief minutes since. My lately loved, my recently adored, say that until a quarter of an hour ago, I was all in all to thee.
I see your idea. It's ingenious, but don't do that.
But there can be no harm in reveling in the past.
None whatever. But an embrace cannot be taken to act retrospectively.
Perhaps not.
We may recollect an embrace. I recollect many, but we must not repeat them.
Then let us recollect a few. Yes. Casilda, you are to me as the sun is to the earth.
A quarter of an hour ago.
About that.
And to think that but this miserable discovery, you would have been mine for life.
For life and death, a quarter of an hour ago.
How greedily my thirsty ears would have drunk the golden melody of your words. A quarter? Well, now it's been about 20 minutes since.
About that. One can never be too precise in such matters.
And now our love, so full of life, is but a silent, solemn memory.
Must it be so, Casilda?
Louise, it must be so.
There was a time forever gone. Oh, is me. It was no crime to love but be alone. Oh, is me. One heart, one life,
present to you Don of Alhambra del Bolero, the Grand Inquisitor of Spain.
So this is the little lady who is so unexpectedly called upon to assume the functions of royalty. And a very nice little lady, too.
Jim, isn't she?
Distinctly. Allow me. Naughty temper.
You must make some allowance. Her Majesty's head is a little turned by her access of dignity.
I could have wished that her access of dignity had turned it in this direction.
Unfortunately, there seems to be some little doubt as to His Majesty's whereabouts.
A doubt as to his whereabouts? Then we may yet be saved.
A doubt? Oh dear, no doubt at all. He is here in Venice, plying the modest but picturesque calling of a gondolier. I can give you his address. I see him every day. Why, in the entire annals of our history, there is absolutely no circumstance so entirely free from all manner of doubt of any kind, whatever. Listen, and I'll tell you all about it. I stole the prince and I brought him here and I left him gaily prattling with a highly respectable gondolier who promised the royal babe to rear and teach him the trade of a time near with his own beloved rattling. Both of the babes were strong and stout, and considering all things clever, of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
But owing I'm much disposed to fear to a terrible taste for tippling, that highly respectable gondolier could never declare with a mind sincere which of the two was his offspring dear and which the royal stripling. Which was which he could never make out despite his best endeavor. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
Time sped when at the end of a year I sought that infant cherished, that highly respectable gondolier was lying a corpse on his humble bier. I dropped a grand inquisitor's tear. That gondolier had perished. A taste for drink combined with gout had doubled him up forever. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
The children followed his old career, that statement can't be carried. Of a highly respectable gondolier, well, one of the two will soon be here. But which of the two it is not quite clear is the royal prince you married. Search in and out and round about, and you'll discover never a tale so free from every doubt, or probable possible shadow of doubt, or possible doubt whatever.
A tale so free from every doubt, all probable possible shadow of doubt, all possible doubt whatever.
Then, do you mean to say that I am married to one of two gondoliers, but it's impossible to say which?
Without any doubt of any kind whatever. But be reassured, the nurse to whom your husband was entrusted is the mother of that musical young man who is such a past master with that delicately modulated instrument. She can, no doubt, establish the king's identity beyond all question.
Heavens, how did he know that?
My young friend, the Grand Inquisitor is always up to date. His mother is at present the wife of a highly respectable and old-established brigand, who carries on an extensive practice in the mountains around Cordova. Accompanied by 2 of my missionaries, he will set off at once for his mother's address. She will return with them, and if she finds any difficulty in making up her mind, the persuasive influence of the torture chamber will jog her memory.
But bless my heart, consider my position. I am a wife of one, that's very clear. But who can tell, except my intuition, which is the prince and which the gondolier?
Submit to fate without unseemly wrangle. Such complications frequently occur. Life is one closely complicated tangle. Death is the only true unraveler.
Try we lifelong, we can never straighten out life's tangled skein. Why should we in vain endeavor? Guess and guess and guess again.
Life's a pudding full of plums.
Here's a kicker that he knows.
Life's a pudding
Now our lives are going to begin. In real earnest. What's a bachelor? A mere nothing. He's a chrysalis. He can't be said to live. He exists.
What a delightful institution marriage is. Why have we wasted all this time? Why didn't we marry 10 years ago?
Because you couldn't find anybody nice enough.
Because you were waiting for us.
I suppose that was the reason. We were waiting for you without knowing it. Hello.
Good morning.
If this gentleman is an undertaker, it's a bad omen.
Ceremony of some sort's going on?
He is an undertaker. No, just a little unimportant family gathering. Nothing in your line.
Is somebody's birthday, I suppose.
Yes, mine.
And mine.
And mine.
Curious coincidence. And how old may you all be?
It's a rude question, but about 10 minutes.
Remarkably fine children. But surely you are jesting.
In other words, we were married 10 minutes since.
Married? You don't mean to say that you are married?
Oh yes, we are married.
What, both of you?
All four of us.
Bless my heart, how extremely awkward.
You don't mind, I suppose.
You weren't thinking of either of us for yourself, I presume. Oh, Giuseppe, look at him. He's heartbroken.
No, I wasn't.
Now, my man, if you're satisfied, you may go.
You mustn't call me your man. It's liberty. I don't think you know who I am.
Not we indeed. We are Jolly Gondoliers, the sons of baptismal Palmieri, who led the last revolution. Republicans, heart and soul. We hold all men to be equal. As we abhor oppression, we abhor kings. As we detest vainglory, we detest wealth. As we despise effeminacy, we despise rank. We are Venetian gondoliers, your equals in everything, except our calling, and in that, at once your masters and your servants.
Bless my heart, how unfortunate. One of you may be Baptisto's son, for anything I know to the contrary, but the other is no less a personage than the only son of the late king of Barataria.
What?
And I trust it was the one who slapped me on my shoulder and called me his man.
But which is it?
Which does it matter? As you are both Republicans and hold kings in detestation, of course you will abdicate at once. Good evening.
Well, as to that, there are kings and there are kings. When I say I detest kings, I mean I detest bad kings.
I see. It's a delicate distinction.
Quite so. Now I can conceive a kind of king, the creature of my fancy, you know, who would be absolutely unobjectionable. A king, for instance, who would abolish taxes and make everything cheap, except gondolas.
And supply a great many free entertainments to the gondoliers.
And let off fireworks at the Grand Canal, and engage all the gondolas for the occasion.
And scramble money about the Rialto among the gondoliers.
Such a king would be a blessing to his people. And if I were king, that is the sort of king I would be.
Oh, so would I, so would I.
I'm glad to find your objections are not insuperable.
Oh, they're not insuperable.
No, they're not insuperable.
Besides, we are open to conviction.
Oh yes, they are open to conviction. Oh, they've often been convicted.
Our views may have been formed on insufficient grounds. They may be crude, ill-digested, erroneous. I have a very poor politician. The politician who has no sense of detestation. I do not mind him at all, my man. And that's why I would be a great and wonderful king.
Oh, he's a fine fellow.
Yes, that's the sort of politician for my money.
Then we'll consider it settled. Now, as the country is in a state of insurrection, it is absolutely necessary that you assume the reins of government at once. And until it is ascertained which of you is to be king, I have arranged that you will reign jointly, so that no question can arise hereafter as to the validity of any of your acts.
As one individual.
As one individual.
Like this.
Something like that.
And we can take our friends with us and give them places about the court.
Oh, undoubtedly. That's always done.
Well, I'm convinced.
So am I.
Then the sooner we're off, the better. We'll just run home and pack up a few things.
Stop. That won't do at all. Ladies are not admitted.
What?
Not admitted. Not at present. Afterwards, perhaps.
Why, you don't mean you're going to separate us from our wives?
Only for a time. A few months. After all, what is a few months?
But we've only been married a half an Kind sir, you cannot have the hotel lies to watch, and those to whom an hour go before your night out. Before all flowing hopes you step, a look at them, pause before you till this blow already flies.
ascertain which is the king and which the other. To Baratarius' court I'll bring his foster mother. Her former nursling to declare she'll be delighted. That settled, let each happy pair be reunited.
Viva, this argument is strong. Viva, will not be parted long. Viva, it will be settled soon. Viva, then comes our honeymoon. Viva, viva, viva. Then one of us will be a queen and sit on a golden throne, with a crown instead of a hat on her head and diamonds all around. With a beautiful robe of golden green I've always understood. I wonder whether she'd wear a feather. I rather think she should. Oh, today's the glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair. But right down regular, 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 regular royal queen.
She'll drive about to the carriage and pair with the king on her left-hand side. And a milk white horse, as a matter of course, whenever she wants to ride. With beautiful silver shoes to wear upon her dainty feet. With endless stocks of beautiful rocks. And as much as she wants to eat.
Oh, tis the worst thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair. But right down regular, 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 regular royal queen.
Whenever she condescends to look, be sure she'll shine at that. With her haughty stare and her nose in the air like a well-born aristocrat. At elegant high society talk, she'll bear away the bell. With her how-dee-do-hoo and her how are you who, and I trust that I see you well.
Oh, tis the glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair. But right down regular, 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 regular royal queen.
And noble men will only bow and cover themselves in true, and open their eyes and blank surprise whatever she likes to do. And all around will roundly vow she's as fair as flowers in May, and say how clever at whatsoever she condescends to say. Oh,
Tis the glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No half and half affair, I mean no half and half affair. But right down regular, 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 regular royal queen. Oh, tis the glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. Right down regular royal queen.
Replying we sing as one individual, as I find I'm a king to my kingdom I bid you all, I'm a where you are object to pavilions and palaces, but you'll find I respect your Republican fallacies, but you'll find I respect your Republican fallacies.
As they know we object to pavilions and palaces, how can they respect our Republican fallacies?
For everyone who feels inclined, suppose they undertake to find congenial with his frame of mind, they all shall equal be.
the Chancellor, his Farouk, the Marquis and the Duke, the groom, the butler and the cook, they all shall equal be.
The aristocrat who banks with coats, the aristocrat who hunts and shoots, the aristocrat who cleans our boots, they all shall equal be.
The noble lord who rules the state, the noble lord who cleans the plate,
The noble lord who scrubs the grate, they all shall equal be.
bishop, both the dogs, the lord high coachman on the bottom.
Lord high vagabond, in the stocks they all shall equal be. For everyone who feels inclined, suppose they undertake to find a genial in his frame of mind, a genial in his frame of mind, and all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be. The earth, the water, the land, the distance, turn the touch, the hand, the go. The raise the ground, the face, the truth, the waves, the ground, the breeze, the road, the road, the road, the sea, the snow, the smoke, the shots, the go. Roller, the beach, the floor, the coast, the streets, the name, the street. For everyone who feels inclined, suppose they undertake to find the genial in this frame of mind, the genial in this frame of mind, and all shall equal be. And hello, King, whichever you may be, to you we sing, but do not bend the knee. Come, let's away, our island crown awaits thee. And the flickering feelings rend my soul apart. The thought of royal dignity elates me, but leaving thee behind me breaks my heart.
Farewell, my love, on board you must be getting. But while upon the sea you may roam, remember that a heart for thee is fretting. The tender little heart you left home.
your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling. I say, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling.
We heard you.
We are delighted at any time to fall in with sentiments so charmingly expressed.
That's all right.
At the same time, there is just one little grievance we should like to ventilate.
What?
Don't be alarmed, it's nothing serious. It is arranged that until it is decided which of us two is the actual king, we are to act as one person.
Exactly.
Now, although we act as one person, we are, in point of fact, two persons.
I don't think we could go into that. It is a legal fiction, and legal fictions are solemn things. Situated as we are, we can't recognize two independent responsibilities.
No, but you can recognize two independent appetites. Now, it's all very well to say we act as one person. But when you supply us with only one ration between us, I should describe it as a legal fiction carried a little too far.
It's a rather nice point. I don't like to express an opinion offhand. Suppose we reserve it for argument before the full court.
But what are we to do in the meantime? We want our tea.
I think we may make an interim order for double rations on their Majesty's entering into the usual undertaking to indemnify in the event of an adverse decision.
That, I think, will be the case. But you must work hard. Stick to it. Nothing like work.
Oh, certainly. We quite understand that a man who holds the magnificent position of king should do something to justify it. We are called Your Majesty. We are allowed to buy ourselves expensive clothes. The subjects frequently nod to us in the streets. The sentries always return our salutes. And we enjoy the inestimable privilege of heading off all the subscription lists to all the principal charities. In return for these advantages, the least we can do is make ourselves useful about the palace. Rising early in the morning, we proceed to light the fire. Then our Majesty adorning its work-a-day attire, we embark without delay on the duties of the day. First we polish off some batches of political dispatches and foreign politicians circumvent. Then if business isn't heavy, we may hold a royal levy or ratify some acts of parliament. Then we probably review the household troops with the usual shalahots and shalahoops. Always see with ceremonial and state an interesting Eastern potentate. After that we generally go and dress our private dwelling. It's a rather nervous story, he's a touchy little man. Write some letters literary or a private secretary. He's shaky in his spelling, so we help him if we can. Then in lieu of cravings in it, we go down and order dinner. Then we polish the regalia and the coronation plate. Spend an hour anticipating all our gentlemen in waiting, or we run on little lambs for the ministers of state. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. Yet the privilege and the pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is the good of little lambs for the ministers of state. Oh, the philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, yet the duties are delightful and the privilege is great. But the privilege and the pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run on little lambs for the ministers of state. After luncheon we marry on a budded glass of sherry if we've nothing in particular to do. We may make a proclamation or receive a deputation, then we possibly create a peer or two. Then we help a fellow creature on his path, with the garter or the thistle or the bat. Or we dress a toddle off in semi-state to a festival, a function, or a fete. Then we go and stand a sentry at the palace private entry, marching hither, marching thither, up and down the tube. While the boy on duty goes in search of beer and beauty, and it generally happens then how to go. He relieves us if he's able, just in time to lay the table. Then we dine and serve the coffee, and at 1:30, with a pleasure that's emphatic, we retire to our attic with the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh. They are all so kind and considerate. You don't find them wanting to do this, or wanting to do that, or saying it's my turn now. No, they let us have all the fun for ourselves, and never seem to grudge it.
It makes one feel quite selfish, taking advantage of their good nature.
How nice they were about the double rations.
Most considerate. There's only one thing wanting to make us thoroughly comfortable.
And that is...
The dear little wives we left behind us 3 months ago.
Oh, yes. Life is dull without female society. We can do without everything else, but we can't do without that.
And if we have that in perfection, we have everything. There is only one recipe for perfect happiness. Take a pair of sparkling eyes, hidden never and anon, in a merciful eclipse. Do not heed their mouths of prize, having passed the Rubicon. Take a pair of rosy lips. Take a figure trimly planned, such as admiration weds. Be particular in this. Take a tender little hand, fringed with dainty fingerets. Press it, in parentheses. Take all these, you lucky men. Take and keep them if you can. If you can, take all these, you lucky men. Take and keep them if you can. If you can. Take a pretty little cot, quite a miniature affair, hung about with trellis vine. Furnish it upon the spot with the treasures rich and rare I've endeavored to define. Live to love and love to live. There's nothing more to give. Growing on the sunny side, fate has nothing more to give. You're a dainty man to please. If you're not satisfied, not satisfied. Take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can, take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can. Take my counsel, happy man. Act upon it if you can. If you can. If you can. Act upon it if you can. Happy man. If you can. indeed a most delightful surprise.
Yes, we thought you'd like it. You see, it was like this. After you left, we felt very dull and mopey, and the days crawled by, and you never wrote. So at last, I said to Gianetta, I can't stand this any longer. Those two poor old monarchs haven't got anyone to mend their stockings, sew on their buttons, or patch their clothes. At least I hope they haven't. Let us pack up a change and see how they're getting on. And Gianetta said done, and they all said done. And I went and asked old Jacopo to borrow his boat, and he said done. And we crossed the sea, and thank goodness that's done. And here we are, and it will I'm done! And now, which of you is king? And which of us is queen?
That we shan't know until nurse shows up. But never mind that. The question is, how shall we celebrate the commencement of our honeymoon? Gentlemen, will you allow us to offer you a magnificent banquet?
Yeah.
Thanks very much. And ladies, what do you say to a dance?
A banquet and a dance! Oh, it's too much happiness!
Dance on what you go, Gondoliers, cherries will drink and me a Montero. Wine when it runs, we know what this thing has. It's the reckless sea like Giorgio on the sun dances to the pretty patch, pretty patch, pretty patch, cherries will drink and me a Montero. Wine when it runs, we know what this. And hence is the reckless sea like Giorgio on the sun dances. The reckless sea like. Dance on what you go, Gondoliers, cherries will drink and me a Montero. Wine when it runs, we know what this thing has. It's the reckless sea like Giorgio on the sun dances. Oh, cherries will drink and me a Montero. Wine when it runs in abundance. And hence is the reckless sea like Giorgio on the sun dances. The reckless sea like Giorgio on the sun dances.
Good evening. Fancy ball?
No, just a little friendly dance, that's all. Sorry you're late.
But I saw a groom dancing. And a footman.
Oh yes, that's the Lord High Footman.
And dear me, a common little drummer boy.
Oh no, that's the Lord High Drummer Boy.
But surely the servants' hall is the place for these gentry.
Oh dear no, we have appropriated the servants' hall. It's the royal apartment, accessible only by tickets obtainable at the Lord Chamberlain's office.
We really must have some place that we can call our own.
I'm afraid I'm not quite equal to the intellectual pressure of this conversation.
You see, the monarchy has been reestablished on republican principles.
What?
Every department ranks equally, and everyone is at the head of his department.
I see.
You seem annoyed.
No, I won't say that. It's not quite what I expected.
I'm awfully sorry.
So am I.
By the by, can I offer you anything after your long voyage? A plate of macaroni and a rusk.
No, nothing.
Obliged to be careful.
Yes, gout. You see, In every court, there are distinctions that must be observed. There are there? Why, of course. For instance, you wouldn't have a Lord High Chancellor play leapfrog with his own cook.
Well, why not?
Why not? Because a Lord High Chancellor is a personage of great dignity, who should never, under any circumstance, place himself in the position of being told to tuck in his tuppenny, except by noblemen of his own rank. A Lord High Archbishop, for instance, might tell a Lord High Chancellor to tuck in his tuppenny. But certainly not to cook. Certainly not to cook.
Not even a Lord High Cook.
My young friend, that is a rank that does not recognize the Lord Chamberlain's office. No, it won't do. I'll give you an instance in which the experiment was tried. There lived a king, as I've been told, in the wonder-working days of old, when hearts were twice as good as gold, and 20 times as mellow. A good-tempered triumphed in his face, and in his heart he found a place for all the erring human race, and every wretched fellow, when he had Rhenish wine to drink, it made him very sad to think that some had drunk it poor and gin must be content with toddy. With toddy must be content with toddy. He wished all men as rich as he, and he was rich as rich could be. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody. Well, that's the kind of king for me. He wished all men as rich as he. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody. Lord Chancellors were cheap as sprats, and bishops in their shovel hats were plentiful as tabby cats. In point of fact, too many ambassadors cropped up like hay, prime ministers and such as they grew like asparagus in May, and dukes were 3 a penny. On every side, field marshals gleamed, small beer were lords, lieutenant, deep with admirals, the ocean teemed all round his wide dominions. And party leaders you might meet in 2s and 3s in every street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. Now that's a sight to Cleveland, the 2 party leaders in each street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions. That king, although no one denies, his heart was of abnormal size, yet he'd have acted otherwise if he had been a cuter. The end is easily foretold when every blessed thing you hold is made of silver or of gold. You long for simple pewter when you have nothing else to wear but cloth of gold and satins rare. For cloth of gold you cease to care. Up goes the price of shoddy. Of shoddy. Up goes the price of shoddy. In short, whoever you may be, to this conclusion you'll agree. When everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody. Now that's as plain can be. To this conclusion we agree. When everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody. have some important news to communicate. His Grace the Duke of Plazatoro, Her Grace the Duchess, and their beautiful daughter Casilda. I say their beautiful daughter Casilda.
We heard you.
Have arrived at Barataria and may be here at any moment.
The Duke and Duchess are nothing to us.
But their daughter, their beautiful daughter. Oh, you're a lucky dog, one of you.
I think you are a very incomprehensible old gentleman.
Not a bit. I'll explain. Many years ago, when you, whichever you are, were a baby, you, whichever you are, were married to a little girl who has grown up to be the most beautiful young lady in Spain. That beautiful young lady will be here to claim you, whichever you are, in half an hour. And I congratulate that one, whichever it is, with all my heart.
But married when a baby?
But we were married 3 months ago.
One of you. Only one. The other, whichever it is an unintentional bigamist.
Well, upon my word!
Who are these young people?
Who are we? Why, their wives, of course! We've just arrived.
Their wives. Oh, dear, this is very unfortunate. Oh, dear, this complicates matters. Dear, dear, what will your majesty say?
Do you mean to say that one of these monarchs is already married? And that neither of us will be a queen?
That is the idea I intended to convey.
Tessa, my dear.
Get away! Perhaps it's you!
My poor little woman.
Don't! Who knows who you are? And pray, why didn't you tell us all about it before they left Venice?
Because if I had, no earthly temptation would have induced these gentlemen to leave two such extremely fascinating and utterly irresistible little ladies.
There's something in that.
I may mention that you will not be kept long in suspense, as the old lady who nursed His Royal Highness is at present in the torture chamber, waiting for me to interview her.
Poor old gal, hadn't you go and put her out of her suspense?
Oh no, there's no hurry. She's all right. She has all the funny papers. However, I'll go and interrogate her. And in the meantime, may I suggest the absolute propriety of your regarding yourselves as single young ladies. Good evening.
Well, here's a pleasant state of things.
Delightful. One of us is married to 2 young ladies, whom nobody knows is which, and the other is married to 1 young lady, whom nobody can identify.
And one of us is married to one of you. The other is married to nobody. but which of you is married to which of us, and what's to become of the other?
It's all quite simple. Observe. 2 husbands have managed to acquire 3 wives. 3 wives, 2 husbands. That's 2/3 of a husband to each wife.
Oh, Mad Vesuvius! Here we are in arithmetic again. My good sir, one can't marry a vulgar fraction.
You've no right to call me a vulgar fraction.
We are getting rather mixed. The situation has become entangled. Let us try and comb it out. In a contemplative fashion and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find. Let us grasp the situation, solve the complicated plot. Quiet, calm deliberation, disentangle
She's a silly still, she answers pretty well.
Now when we were pretty babies, someone married us, that's weird.
And if I can catch her off the dance, scratch her, I'll set her away with a flea.
That the lady married dreamed of music and refused.
If I overtake her, I warrant I'll make her to shake in our aristocratic shoes. If I have to do it, I will reach her with all teachers to marry the man I want. If she or a sister,
Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot.
Touches heart of Duke
and heart of Duchess, who resigned their pet.
with profound regret.
She of beauty was a model.
When a tiny tittle toddle, and at 21,
She's excelled by none.
at 21,
She's excelled by none. At 21,
she's excelled by none. That His Grace, the Duke of Plazatoro, has arrived and begs and demands an audience. And now, my child, prepare to receive the husband to whom you were united under such interesting and romantic circumstances.
But which is it? There are two of them.
It is true that at present your husband is a double gentleman, but as soon as the circumstances of his marriage are ascertained, he will, ipso facto, boil down to a single career, thus presenting a unique example of an individual who becomes a single man and a married man by the same operation.
I have known instances in which the characteristics of both have existed concurrently in the same individual.
Ah, he couldn't have been a Plazatoro.
Oh, couldn't he though?
Well, whatever happens, I shall, of course, be a dutiful wife, but I can never love my husband.
I don't know. It's extraordinary, but unprepossessing people. One can learn to love if one puts one's mind to it.
I loved your father.
My love, that remark is a little hard, I think. Rather cruel, perhaps. Somewhat uncalled for, I venture to believe.
It was very hard, my dear. But I said to myself that man is a duke and I will love him. Several of my relations begged me I couldn't. But I did, desperately. On the day that I was wedded to your admirable sire, I acknowledged that I dreaded an explosion of his ire. I was overcome with panic, for his
shady, a nobleman shady, who is blazing in the luster of unaccustomed pocket money. A nobleman shady, who can look back upon 95 quarters. It is not every nobleman who is 95 quarters in arrear. And this, just as I floated at a premium of 5.
Her Majesty is surely unaware that before Her Majesty's father came before the public, he was applied for over and over again.
Her Majesty's father was in the habit of being applied for over and over again, and very urgently applied for too, long before he was registered under the Limited Liability Act. To help unhappy commoners and add to their enjoyment, affords a man of noble rank congenial employment. Of our attempts we offer you examples illustrative. The work is light, and I may add, it's most remunerative. Small titles and orders for mayors and recorders I get, and they're highly delighted.
They're highly delighted.
MPs, baroneted, sham colonels, gazetted, and second-rate aldermen knighted.
Yes, aldermen knighted.
Foundations no laying, I find very paying. It adds a large sum to my makings.
Large sum to his makings.
At charity dinners, the best of street spinners, I get 10% of the takings.
1/10 of the takings. I present any lady whose conduct is shady or smacking of doubtful propriety.
Doubtful propriety.
When virtue would wash her, I take and whitewash her and launch her in first-rate society.
First-rate society.
I recommend acres of clumsy dressmakers, their fit and their finishing touches.
Their finishing touches.
A sum in addition they pay for permission to sing that they make for the Duchess.
They make for the Duchess. We're ready as witness to anyone's fitness to fill any place or preferment.
A place of preferment.
I allow them to do so, though Robinson Crusoe would jib at their wearing apparel.
Such wearing apparel.
I sit by selection up on the direction of several companies' bubble.
All companies bubble.
As soon as they're floated, I'm freely banknoted. I'm pretty well paid for my trouble.
He's paid for his trouble. At middle-class party, I play a party, and I'm by no means a beginner.
She's not a beginner.
To one of my station, the remuneration, 5 guineas a night, and my dinner.
And wine with her dinner.
I write letters blatant on medicines patent, and use any other you mustn't.
Believe me, you mustn't.
And while my complexion derives its perfection from somebody's soap, which it doesn't.
It certainly doesn't. We're ready as witness to anyone's fitness to fill any place or preferment.
A place of preferment. We're often in waiting and jumped or fainting, and sometimes attend an interment.
We enjoy an internment. In short, if your Kindle start or swindle or simpletons into your clutches, into your clutches. Or hoodwink a debtor, you cannot do better.
And trot out a duke or a duchess.
A duke or a duchess. Ah, their majesties, your majesty.
The Duke of Plazatoro, I believe.
The same. Allow me to present.
Young lady, one of us has married.
I am the most obedient servant of one of you. Oh, Louise.
I am now about to address myself to the gentleman whom my daughter married. The other may allow his attention to wander if he likes. What I am about to say does not concern him. Sir, you will find in this young lady a combination of excellences which you would search for in any place, and not fortune to be my daughter. There is some little doubt which of you is the gentleman whom I am addressing, and which of you who is allowing his attention to wander, but as soon as that doubt is solved, I shall say, still addressing the attentive gentleman, take her, and may she make you happier than her mother has made me.
Sir!
If possible. And now there is a little matter to which I think I am entitled to take exception. I come here and state with her grace, the Duchess, and her Majesty, my daughter. And what do I find? For instance, do I find a guard of honor to receive me? No.
No.
Triumphal arches erected? No.
No.
The town illuminated? No.
No.
Refreshment provided? No.
No.
The bell set ringing?
No.
Well, yes, one, the visitor's bell. And I rang it myself. It is not enough, it is not enough.
Upon my honor, I'm very sorry, but you see, I was brought up in a gondola, and my ideas of politeness are confined to taking off my cap when my passengers tip me.
That's all very well in its way, but it is not enough.
I'll take off anything else in reason.
But a royal salute fired, it costs so little.
Papa, I don't want a salute.
My duty, sir, until we figure out which of us two is entitled to that liberty, she shall have as many salutes as she likes.
And as for guards of honor and triumphal arches, you just don't know our people. They wouldn't stand for it.
They are very offhand with us. Very offhand indeed.
Oh, but you mustn't allow that. You must keep them in proper discipline. You must impress your court with your importance. You want deportment, carriage.
We've got a carriage.
Manner, dignity. There must be a good deal of this sort of thing. And just a little of this sort of thing. And possibly just a soupçon of this sort of thing. It is very effective and most useful. Just attain to me. You are a king, I am a subject. Very good. Courtier, grave and serious, who is about to kiss your hand. Try to combine a pose imperious with a demeanor nobly blend.
Let us combine our pose imperious with a demeanor nobly planned.
That's if anything too unbending, too aggressively stiff and grand. Now to the other extreme you're tending. Don't be so too sadly condescending.
Now to the other extreme you're tending. Don't be so dreadfully condescending.
A heart to please some noblemen seem at first, if anything, too unbending. Off we go to the other extreme, too confoundedly condescending.
Now above her form said daily, offer your head with conscious pride. Take an attitude not too stately, still sufficient.
on and left the young chickens together. That's called tact.
It is rather awkward. We really ought to tell the girl how we are situated. It's not fair to the poor girl.
Then why don't you do it?
I'd rather not. How about you?
I wouldn't know how to begin. Aye, madam, that is some of us.
Gentlemen, I am bound to listen to you, but I must tell you that, not knowing I was wed in infancy, I am head over ears in love with someone else.
Our case exactly. We are head over ears in love with someone else too. In point of fact, with our wives.
Your wives? Then you're married.
It's not our fault. We knew nothing about it. We are sisters in misfortune.
My good girls, I don't blame you. Only, before we go any farther, we must really arrive at some satisfactory arrangement, or we should get hopelessly complicated.
Here's a case of president, and here are a king and queen of stud. And this is marriage was first invented, never was known a case so one. I may be said to have been bisected by a profound catastrophe.
Through a calamity unexpected, I am divisible into three.
I may be said to have been bisected.
I am divisible into three. Through a calamity, I am divisible into three. Oh, Lord of us all, how can you call marriage a stage of unity? When that's what it was, all bisected was indivisible into three. Oh, Lord of us all, how can you call marriage a stage of unity?
Lord of us all, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Lord of us all, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Marriage is state of union true, without all myself as married to
Now let the loyal lieges gather round. The prince's foster mother has been found. She will declare to silver clarion sound the rightful king. Let him forthwith be crowned.
Speak, woman, speak.
For all attention.
The news we seek. All men to mention. To us they bring.
His foster mother.
Is he the king?
Or this my brother?
Speak, woman, speak. Speak, woman, speak. The royal prince was by the king, entrusted to my fond care. But ere I grew old and I grew crusted, the traitors came to steal his son away from me. So my own small boy I substituted, and the villains, they fell into the trap completely. So I hid the prince away, still sleeping sweetly. And I called him son with pardonable slyness. His name, Louise. Behold, his royal crown.
Louise, Casilda.
Is this indeed the king? Oh, wondrous revelation! Oh, unexpected things from
understand, dictated.
By virtue really very courted, your pure and patient love is now rewarded.
Here you go.
Okay, so me and Ellen have been friends ever since I first started MIT, and we'd always go to families on Thursday nights and hang out. And she's been one of the best friends I've had ever since I started. So, yeah.
Right, it's my turn. Javier, come here. I wrote a little something, it's not that long. Okay. Javier Grullon has been an NYPT for unfortunately only 1 year. But I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels it's been a lot longer. From his happy personality, in a great way, to his incredibly loud laugh, he has filled this hall with memories I will not soon forget. So now I give you, my best friend, your flowers, and say goodbye to you.
I wrote something too. I have the honor to present Mr. Joseph McConaughy with his Joe has been with MIPT for 5 years, and the past 2 years that I have spent with him have been marvelous. He is amazing and definitely has a bright future ahead of him. We will all miss you greatly next year.
Okay. This girl right here is probably one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. I know whoever has ever come through here. And well, she will be very sadly missed, and she will definitely be going places, and I will definitely miss her laugh and her wonderful awfulness here a lot. Geehae. I'm sorry. Since when I first came here, I just sort of started getting to know you this year, and you really made me feel at home. I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. And to unite everyone with your laughter, your optimism, and getting everyone right on track, but at the same time having fun with it. And like Jenny said, oh, Geehae, you are going places. Don't ever do that.
Okay, Mike, step forward. Yes,
These flowers are for Michael Nutter. He's been with NYPT for 6 years. He's one of the best friends I've ever made here, probably, if not the best friend I've ever made here. He knows so much about Gilbert and Sullivan. He's like this, like one of our directors, Ben. You just ask him anything about it, he'll know the answer. And by sheer coincidence, he actually happens to be wearing the exact same hat he wore in his first show with NYPT. His name is right here. And he's a really fantastic guy to be around, and I'm going to miss him so much after this year. These are for you, Mike. Your turn.
Okay, Schuyler, you have been in NYPT for what, 10 years?
Yeah.
So, everyone on this stage has not been in an NYPT production without him, first of all. He is the center of NYPT. He is friends with everyone.
Oh my
He keeps us all in line backstage. He's just the best person ever. Not only will he be in the hearts of all of us in NYPT, but he will always be my brother.
Yeah, don't block my spotlight.
This is for Mrs. Jaber, Mrs. Wagner. Both you and your family have always given your all to NYPT. We appreciate everything you have done for us. Thank you for all the late night costume mendings and for keeping us in line. And here's to another great year.
Rachel?
Okay, we give this to a very special someone who's worked behind MIPT.
And she came in during rehearsals even though she didn't have to and helped us. She played the piano and helped some of us rehearse her songs. And with her help, everything went a lot more efficiently, and it was so great to have her help us out. Thank you to our mom.
He's been executive director for 12 years now, is that right? 12 years. And he's helped funding for the program. He's helped organize such a talented directing staff that we have, and also a loyal group of volunteers as well. And not only that, he's also driven us an hour from Maine to rehearse with all these people here for every two days a week, every summer for like, I don't know, 8-9 years now, something. And we're especially grateful for that. And I'll shut up now and let Owen say.
Oh, I already said some stuff, so.
Okay.
This is just.
These flowers are for our dad, Robert J. White.
These flowers are for our assistant director, Mr. Hellman. I've worked with him a lot this summer, and I just wanted to say thank you for all of your help in directing and telling me what to do and making me look good.
These flowers are for Scott White, our excellent pianist and musical director. He's been very inspiring for me over the past 5 years, and he's introduced us to lots of music and corrected all our mistakes whenever we go wrong.
I have the incredible honor to present these flowers to an extremely talented man. I have worked with Mr. Joseph Gori for 2 years, both at Haverhill High School and here at MIPT, and I have cherished every moment of it. We thank you so much for supporting and guiding us all on this part of our journey.
Staff, the parents, the cast, the directors all want to thank all of you for letting us work with your children all summer and for taking time out of your busy lives to be with us today to share this beautiful Gilbert Sullivan music. See you next year.